Hi guys, I'm going to be playing in a challenge with this Mardu combo priest list. This list is based around a new card, Tethbos High Priest, which is a new card from Ultimate Masters. Basically, there's an infinite combo involving High Priest, Prospector, War Marshal, and Crown of Flames. It gets you infinite mana, infinite tokens, etc. Basically, the quick way to remember how it works is that War Marshal is essentially 3 goblins. So Skirk Prospector can sack War Marshal for 3 mana, but it only takes 2 mana to bounce Crown of Flames and replay it on Teth High Priest. So that's why you can get infinite mana, infinite tokens, etc. To put that together, we're playing lots of card draw. So 4 Faithless Looting, 4 Tormenting Voice, and 3 Night's Whispers. So I'm not playing Cathartic Reunion, even though it's a better dig spell, because I'm afraid of blue. In fact, Tormenting Voice is kind of a bad card against blue just in general, so I will probably be siding these out against... I'll try to side some of them out against Delver at least. So the other key part of this deck is actually Sneakweed Imp. So one cool thing about this combo is that you only need 2 pieces from your hand. You only need Priest and Crown of Flames. You can have War Marshal and Square Prospector be in the graveyard before you combo. You can just, play Crown of Flames, bounce back, play it again. So 3 red mana gets you the entire combo. You don't need any of the Goblin pieces. So basically, Stinkweed Imp can help you set up the combo by, you dredge it, and you can throw War Marshal and Prospector and stuff into the graveyard. This deck is also playing Unearth. So basically, if you have Unearth, you can also dredge Stinkweed Imp and potentially put a High Priest in the graveyard and Unearth it back. Though, another way of thinking about Unearth is that this also helps against counterspells because, it's like kind of an extra copy of High Priest, but it only costs 1 mana. So you can actually cast multiple High Priests in a turn. So other graveyard value. So basically this deck is going to be, based around its graveyard a lot. So other graveyard value include Lava Darts. So this is kind of a card that it's kind of a weird one. I guess for 1 mana you could deal 1 damage to any target. So it will frequently be like fairies or opponent stuff, but also frequently it will be your own High Priest. In flashback, it can flashback for free, and also target Teth High Priest again. So Lava Dart is a card that can get you to really fast combos. This deck can theoretically combo on turn 2. Part of it is because Lava Dart, you can use it for free. To survive against aggro decks, this deck plays 3 Strands. Strands are also useful for protecting your combo against bolts and stuff like that. And also they're just more graveyard value. And there's 2 kind of like silver bullets. The first is Fanatical Firebrand. So this is a card that once you have infinite mana, you can return infinite times to kill through fogs. Also, it's just kind of a fine card by itself. It it's good against fairies, like decks with 1 toughness creatures, and good against tribes and stuff like that. The other card is Benevolent Bodyguard. So one thing with Benevolent Bodyguard is that if you have it in your graveyard, you can Lava Dart it back to protect against instant speed removal. But yeah, I should mention one of the good parts about this combo is that it has haste. So you can start out with 0 combo pieces in play, and in 1 turn, get infinite tokens, without with 0 board presence. So it's not as vulnerable to a lot of different types of, it's not really vulnerable to edicts. It's not vulnerable to like any sorcery speed stuff. So yeah, it's pretty good that way. And then there's it plays a lot of these tricolor fixers, which is good for a 3-color deck, and it plays some bounce lands, mainly just for some card advantage. You do need to be discarding stuff with Faithless Looting and Tormenting Voice, so these help make sure your hand is kind of full. So in terms of how this deck plays out, so this deck is really slow and also really hard to play. It is a Faithless Looting deck, and on top of Faithless Looting, Faithless Looting is already a pretty complicated card to play, but this deck's also like, sometimes you want your High Priest in your graveyard, sometimes you want it in your hand. Same thing with Strands, and you're not just choosing what your hand is going to be looks like. You also are trying to set up your graveyard as well. So there's a lot to consider. So the deck is hard to play. Also, dredge. Whether or not you want to dredge is also frequently a pretty hard choice. But on top of that, the combo is incredibly hard to execute. I think on Magic Online, you can't really go for optimal combos. You kind of just have to go for like whatever works. But the things like whatever works still takes you like 5 to 6 minutes. And this is for the bad combo. So like usually, if you have infinite time, you could like flashback Faithless Lootings and keep on chaining through your deck and just pump. Oh, so one thing is that you can pump your creature. So if you have any creatures that are untapped at the start of your turn, you could pump them for infinite. You can also even make them unblockable with Benevolent Bodyguard. But stuff like that you can't really do on Magic Online because just clicking things takes so slow. So frequently I'll be going for like suboptimal combos, and so that's a problem. But even the suboptimal combos will still take me like 5 to 10 minutes to execute. So that's kind of a problem with this deck. It's both hard to play and also kind of hard to execute. But hopefully it'll work out. So in terms of how it plays, it's like I guess at the moment I would kind of compare it to it's kind of like a Boros deck that has a combo draw. So it against so basically it plays kind of a reasonable fair game. So you are playing like Modern War Marshal is not an embarrassing creature. It's decent against aggro, and also like it's really annoying for decks with edicts or for Gurmag anglers to get through. So you can kind of frequently stay alive pretty well. The goldfish for this deck is like it averages turn 5, so it's not a very fast deck, but it's basically you can kind of stay alive for a little while. You can kind of just grind your opponent down a little bit, and then if for decks that you kind of need the combo to beat. So I think usually like Boros can have troubles with things like elves or slivers or like Tron or blue black. This deck can kind of just overpower them because of the combo sometimes. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of how this deck plays out. I still need to play more. I kind of this card just released and I haven't played a whole lot with it yet. Another other thing. I think that's going to happen is that like frequently, like for example against Delver, I'll be trying to use Stinkweed Imps and Lava Darts to kind of just like hold them back in the air, and because the Crown of Flames is going to be hard to resolve, so just kind of slowly grind like Delver decks out. So basically, this deck is kind of like it's not like Tribe where it's kind of like super focused on the combo. It's more like I guess it might be kind of like Birthing Pod deck where like you're just playing value creatures that they're not super embarrassing by themselves, and occasionally you can get some synergy that supercharges your board position. So I think that's kind of how the deck kind of plays out. So in the side there's more cards to kind of like even further that. So I play 3 Gurmags and 4 Power Blasts. So against blue decks, it's going to be really hard to resolve your combo. They can kind of target the Crown of Flames, and also Hydro is like really good against like things like Tormenting Voice. Also, they frequently bring Graveyard Hate, and it's really hard to stop Graveyard Hate. I could bring in Gorilla Shamans, but they can just counter that as well. And also, it's going to be difficult to bring back Gorilla Shamans from the graveyard because they're going to be countering the High Priest to begin with. So instead of trying to protect the graveyard, the plan that I'm going to try to go for is to just dredge it away, delve it away for Gurmag anglers and just try to beat the opponent down. And basically post board against a lot of decks, I'll basically be trying to play a more fair game. So yeah, that's playing with Gurmag anglers. Other than that, there are snuff outs. These are kind of good against a lot of different things. Like I said, them against Delvers. Against Delver, like life total. It's not really about life total. It's more about kind of like the board position. So good against Delver. Good against like elves. Good good against like Coalition Honor Guard, stuff like that. So stuff outs, I'm going to be setting those in a lot. I have 2 Mono Bashes. These are just good against aggressive decks, and against elves and stuff like that. I have my 4th Strands, also good against aggressive decks, also really good against red decks. So I haven't really fixed my Sideboard strategy yet, but I think against red decks I'll probably be bringing in the 4th Prismatic Strands a lot, even if it's like Blue-Red Delver or something. And then I have 3 white creatures. So I'm playing 2 Faithful and 1 Lone Missionary. I'm not playing any Seekers, so I think Seeker is the worst of these 3. So the problem with Seeker is that against aggro decks, it's hard for me to trigger the lifelink on my opponent's turn, and I can't really, it's also not great to attack because you're going to gain 3 life and then they attack back for 8. So against aggro decks, I think like Lone Missionary is the best, and then God Pharaoh's Faithful is okay. The reason why I'm not playing all 3 Lone Missionary is I kind of want these white creatures against Delver, actually. So God Pharaoh's Faithful is like against Delver decks, I think you frequently just kind of want to buy time and you just want to block ninjas and block like augurs. So this is kind of perfect for that. They're also better than Seekers for that because like if they have a bolt, if you have a Seeker, they just bolt their Seeker and then they get through with Ninja. With God Pharaoh's Faithful, you at least, they attack Ninja, you at least get the block. So you at least deny them a card, even though, it still dies. And, yeah, these are also cards that can be brought back with High Priest. So, yeah, well, this doesn't really matter, but, if you have Faithful in the full combo, you gain for life. It's kind of cute. But yeah, so basically, I'll be setting these in against Delver. It's kind of from, it's like text stolen from like Familiars. So yeah. Yeah, I think this deck is quite good. I've been getting pretty good results in the leagues, though I can't really play this deck optimally online because, they're just like technical limitations. So, yeah, I think this deck is really fun. It's really hard to play. So, yeah, let's, hopefully it'll do all right.